Yeah, Derek's still at the gym. Good for you.
I know.
That's
I
how
just
hard.
impressive, eh?
That's how hardcore you are, man. He's actually like, he's in between sets.
Yeah,
See?
I'm gonna run in and out during
Yeah,
conversation. Yeah.
Gonna give us a half an hour and head back at her.
right.
I just get home from work.
Oh
I was supposed
yeah.
to train before, but I didn't get a chance. So here I am,
Oh
tired as
well,
fuck.
I
Mhm.
appreciate it. No worries, dude.
No. My pleasure, man. My pleasure.
So before Dana comes on, he's probably going to be coming on any minute. Super excited for PEI. It's yeah, it's going to be
That throws
fun.
you off, don't it?
No, it doesn't. No,
What the fuck? What the fuck is that?
what is that? What happened? Oh,
Yeah, it's not weed. It's not weed. We're okay.
that's okay. It's fine.
It's legal, man. It's legal.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be able to talk to you, so I'm not going to bother.
That's right.
Holy shit! There he is.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you.
Yes,
Yep.
loud and clear.
How are you guys?
Oh, we're all
We're
tired, sweaty,
Yeah.
hungry.
Yeah, I
All the
have a
above.
little bit of food I'm going to eat. It's a little inappropriate, but
No, man, go for it. That's totally fine.
not my class.
I just piled in a bunch of chicken and rice, and maybe a cookie, maybe not. We just want to remind people, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, comment on the video. Tell us how much you love Dana. How much how much you want to see more of him on the show. That'd be awesome. We'd love to hear your comments and subscribe, and
Oh, hit the bell button.
hit that bell
Subscribe.
button. Yep.
Right now,
All right. I feel the same.
Yeah, you've been out of the gym, what? Probably 10 weeks? 8 weeks?
no, fuck no, thank God.
No?
Just a month.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yesterday was my first day back, but I just kind of had to let go of all of the bodybuilding stuff in the process. Otherwise, it was just going to frustrate me.
Yeah.
100%.
But like in doing so, it's been great because I haven't had I've had experience with surgeries before, so it's not really a surprise like the process that comes with it. But just letting go of the whole follow meals, can't go to the gym, just what I can't control. And the food thing was really just because it was the umbilical hernia with the stomach. Like I really couldn't eat
Yeah, I had
like
the same surgery.
any kind of normal, yeah, like any kind of normal pressure for like a good week was just like I had to eat kind of here and there, and then of course activity level going down, and like the meds from the first week, like the
Right.
anesthetic, and I had a couple of opioids, and then
Yeah.
the Tylenol 3s. So for like the first week, there's just a lot of shit in my system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Felt
doesn't
really
help
toxic.
digestion at all.
Yeah, I couldn't poop for like 4 days anyways.
No,
Right.
100%. Yeah.
Oh,
So it's weird because like I just couldn't, like it was how it is, like I couldn't put any pressure down there
Yeah.
at all. So it was like
Mhm.
very strange, but
It's
Yeah.
still going to be like 6 to 8 weeks before you can really like get back into like your regular training, or even being able to put a minimal amount of pressure on your midsection. Or
yeah, I mean, honestly, it's fine. Like I didn't really have a major issue there in terms of what was already going on, and it wasn't really particularly bothering me from training or like that kind of thing. It's just there was a hole there.
right.
So I found the biggest issue is when I dieted down and my stomach shrunk. It would push out a lot more, especially if I carved up or if I had like a refeed day. Like it would just like kind of push out,
Yeah.
and it could go back in. And it was always really just that. There was nothing more. But I mean, I'm not an idiot, and I know what I want to do.
Right.
And like this is there's just a little weakness there. It's gonna get bad, and I might have to fix it at a time that I'm not really too happy about. So. Yeah, before Toronto, actually, in May, I had an appointment with my doctor, and I was like, oh, this is perfect to show her because I was so lean. And I was just like, yeah, check this out. And she was like, oh, I've just wanted to get it fixed. So they sent me to the Bridgewater Hospital, actually. So I got in really fast. It was only
That's
5
awesome.
months. Yeah.
Yeah. So people here if you're here in Halifax, people that are watching, you go in for an appointment with your doctor. You're going to go in and get like, okay, you need hernia surgery. We're looking at Halifax a year, maybe more for a wait.
Yeah.
But then you go an hour and a half outside of the city. You're in with like a month, maybe a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Yeah.
Shoot, I shouldn't have told people that are listening in Halifax. They're like,
I mean, it really just comes down to the physicians. Like, I wouldn't have thought about that, you know, because like you just don't really know how the system works.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I just kind of told her I prefer to get in wherever I can, and I'm like,
oh, for sure.
I'm pretty sure everyone's qualified.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Before we go any further, hey, welcome to Bodybuilders Amateur Hour. What's going on?
Thank you.
Awesome.
Jamie's got all the trophies on the wall.
Yeah.
I've got
a couple.
Oh, you got some up there?
Yeah, I put all my favorite ones up there. There's a boatload of them in the other room, but
right, yeah. I always say I should just take a picture of it and throw it on the green screen back here, because I'm in a separate room away from all that stuff. And Derek is just in the gym, so that's just a trophy in itself.
I got like thermostats behind me that says "Don't touch the thermostat" Santana on the back of it there. So that's about all you can see. Don't touch the thermostats.
Do not touch.
Awesome. Yeah.
What are you eating, Dana?
Quiznos. I honestly, I've been pretty good, but like this week is just going to be getting food back in.
Yeah.
Right.
Just to fill back out even.
Yeah, like it's kind of at that process where, like, I know getting back into the gym, which is a little bit different than being lazy and taking time off because you're still doing everything else. It's just going to be like getting the movement. Like today, my volume was like 15 to 20 reps and really just like going through the range of motions on everything. Because a lot of it right now is it's not even so much that like I got like crazy small, but it's just like all my muscle function. I'm like reteaching everything, to be honest. And it's crazy. Like I didn't realize how quick, because this is the first time in a long time that I've taken like, you know, like a surgical type of rest. So like you're super stagnant, you know, you're not doing a lot of stuff in general, but it's interesting. Like even today, like by the end of my workout, like how I felt, it's like my body was learning, you know, by the end of the training session, I was like, oh, this feels 1,000 times better than at the start of the workout.
That's interesting. That is, yeah.
It's just going to be like that all week, you know, it'll be like, and then the fatigue will come and my food.
No pain,
like,
boy, did it?
What's that?
No pain? No pain?
Oh, I thought you said cocaine.
That's going to help.
That might get the
energy levels were great.
Yeah.
No pain. Like it's the hardest week was last week because I was completely fine, but you know, they said to wait 4 weeks and I kind of just was like, all right, I'll stick to it. But
that's
super
super
hard
hard
to do something.
Man, I had to go 10 weeks when I had mine done, and that was like torture. You know,
Really?
like I was still training people at the time, and like she's like, don't lift anything over 10 pounds for 10 weeks. I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Like I
Like,
can't
you
do
know
anything
who I
right
am,
now.
right?
Yeah, it was
I was
difficult.
like,
Like I
I mean-
stayed.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, like I healed quicker than she expected, and I was back lifting at like 6 weeks. But I mean, that's a typical bodybuilder anyway. We know how to break down muscle and heal, and we take things also that help us heal quicker. So I mean, it definitely paid off in that sense. But I mean, I remember the first time I sneezed after the surgery. I don't know if you had that happen or not, but it was like 2 days after the surgery I sneezed. Oh man, I never felt pain like that ever.
Yeah, so like I didn't have it's funny you say that. Like there was a few times that I almost sneezed because I was using a fucking weed vape pen and it just like got in the back of my nose and I just like had to figure out to not do it. But there's a couple of times I like coughed just over, honestly, I couldn't clear my throat even. Like there was like like just general stuff, like going, like I couldn't even do that. So that shit would fucking build up and then get down to the bottom of my throat, and I had to get it up, and I just like couldn't. So there's a couple times I like coughed, and it was really painful. But I remember the first time I sneezed, it was like a little bit close to a week, and it was fine. Like I sneezed, and then I was just like,
waiting for it.
I was like, oh, it was just, it was funny.
Waiting for it to all followed again. Yeah.
Did you get mesh in, Dana?
Yeah, so they did a mesh. He wasn't sure if he was going to be able to do it. He wasn't, because it was pretty small, but he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to put a mesh in there, but they were able to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, mine was similar to that. It was about the size of like a pinky finger, and they were going to stitch it, and I was like, if you can get mesh in and do the mesh, because I know I'm going to blow that stitch in no time, they're just going to have to go back in and do mesh anyway. So she did the mesh, and I've had it done, I think it was 2018 sometime, and I haven't had an issue since. So
I just got to get my charger for my computer.
Yeah, go for it.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I thought he was actually going to bring over one of his trophies, wave in front of us. This is the one I beat you all at.
Yeah. This is my first overall. I was just a baby.
This is my... Yeah.
But the first overall one that I have is fucking huge and heavy, the Atlantics one.
Oh, man, I wish they made those big ones again. I like the medals, like, sure, but...
Monster, man.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Statues are nice.
It's funny. Yeah. I think the story behind, because you know how like with the CBBF there used to be just like the fancy big fucking you know guys. So I'm pretty, now don't quote me on this because I'll probably get in trouble, but I'm pretty sure what happened back when they transitioned to different trophies.
Right.
Okay. I think it had to do with whoever like was like either Gary, who was dealing with the New Brunswick organization. And then I think Nova Scotia, they all kind of used the same guy, and I'm pretty sure like Heather and Tijan, like there was something going on with like someone got ripped off, or like there was something going on that they had figured out about the trophy guy and who they were working with. And I think it was like Tijan found the same ones for like a way different price, and then he basically was like, we've been getting fucking ripped off for years for these trophies, so they were just like, fuck that, we're not
just like they were done with it.
It was just like probably some guy they'd use. Like that's always how it was, right? You use a different supplier, and like, you know, I don't think there's any issues with the trophies, but I'm sure you could get them back.
Yeah, but that'd be awesome. I think we all love them. The medals are super cool.
Yeah, they're great.
Did you see that Legion show in Ontario? The one they had, they have those big old fucking like 80s ones.
Yes, man, that'd be so sick.
Like, you know, the ones you win at, like
that right there.
Like look at the local track, one of those, for racing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She's got two of them. Where'd you buy
those?
Yeah, one of those classics.
I competed in the 80s. I got like fucking 10 of them.
Where did you buy those at, man?
Huh?
Where'd you buy those?
I bought them at the pawn shop down there in Mirabel. But that was back in the 90s
too. Nice.
Yeah.
So, any of you guys have any show plans coming up or what?
I was going to be doing the Toronto Nationals, or the Nationals here that just passed, but then my shoulder went.
Right.
So now I am just kind of in rehab, and I think the plan for me is just, man, to take this next year and just live life, dude, and just kind of like try to put on a little bit more size so the next time I stand beside you.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the things that, you know, would make a significant thing if you were able to put on, like, even for your frame, like 10 pounds stage weight. Like, you know, that's going to take a lot of eating, really.
It's horrible. I hate it. I hate eating.
I don't like it. Life. If you're eating those meals like that, it won't be live your life. It'll be fucking your life.
It'd be horrible. that has been like, for anyone that's like, I would say like mildly okay genetics or shitty genetics and a hard gainer, which is me. I do not like food. I'm not a food person, and like to pile back normal meals is tough. So to do what I have to do to get to even where I'm at now was fucking hard. So
I feel like you burn through it really quickly too, right?
yeah,
Like you burn through food fast.
yeah. And it's not like
How much food do you ever eat, Josh? Is there any of your meals or any of your days like just shit full, or is it just all good food, or what?
it's all
like-
good stuff.
I tried to eat all good food to get calories up to 5,000. It wasn't happening.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
I can't do it. Tried.
Yeah, like I feel the
Like,
same
what do you
way.
do, Dana?
Like the thing with me is everything has just always seemed to be like, for example, like if I'm eating like 4,500 calories, like I can put on 20 pounds. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like everything has efficiently worked better for me. Now, that being said, like the other issue is that I haven't really spent a lot of time in an off season. Like, to be honest, I've maybe done 3.
Dude, I have the same issue too.
Yeah.
Like I've done more time competing. So like a lot of my, I'm spending 6 or 7 months of the year in prep where I'm, eating a little bit above maintenance or maybe even more for the start of prep. And then I'm spending a lot more time in a deficit. But, I can't really honestly say like I've spent time eating, 5,000, 6,000 calories for 3 or 4 months. I probably should. Probably wouldn't be in the same position if I did. But yeah, I think the last time I did a true off season was like 2015, and then I did one in 2019, and then I haven't really done one since, to be honest. Not like a true
full blown off season.
Yeah, like I've done like 10 weeks pre-prep, you know what I mean? Like a 20 week out to 10 weeks out, but like realistically with like stuff coming in and food going up at like halfway through, you're starting to pull things down and you're starting to get more ready for prep than like maintaining that. I mean, a good example of somebody who spent a lot more time doing an off season is Morgan.
Right.
Yes.
Like,
Absolutely.
The last 5 or 6 years, he's done more off seasons than preps. And I mean, like,
you can
he's
tell.
needed it. He's needed it. But like the other part of it too is like, like for instance, Josh, if you followed his diet, you'd probably put on 30 pounds. You know what I mean?
Like,
if you could make it past a month, like
if I could make it past,
No, but that's the thing though, right? Like that's the shit where it's like, Morgan was just here actually for the flex and he stayed with me for 3 or 4 days. And like, we're just talking about, all the general stuff that he's been doing in prep and stuff like that. And he's just cruising right now. And like, I'm just watching him eat his diet all day. And I'm like, fuck, this is a lot of food. And it's just like, yeah, he's just chilling, right? Like it's just his regular day. Like he's not pushing off season. He's not pushing anything. And I'm like, hey, this makes sense. Cause he's just like, he was even talking about the summer and stuff, like finishing Vancouver and coming home. He's like, dude, I literally have never missed a meal. Yeah. And I'm like, this makes a lot of sense. Cause you're fucking huge. Like it doesn't look like he's taking
big. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's also like a sign of like, he's been eating, like he hasn't missed any food all year. Like, prep, not prep, off season, not off season. Now, I mean, like self-admittedly, he's like, I don't know how the fuck I haven't missed any meals. He's just like, it's just
kind of
a little bit crazy, like we all are. But I think it's also too, like, it comes down to like, for me, I'm more comfortable doing shows, so I plan to do more shows. But then after a while, like that's not going to take you anywhere, just like competing over and over and over again. Like, and for Morgan, he feels like safer if he's like not missing any of his meals, or like he's not competing next year. He's like, I'm taking all next year off and then I'll compete, like, because he knows like I'm bigger, I have a larger structure, I need to put on size. I think that's, and then there's certain points too where certain guys take too long of off seasons, and then they get them back in
can't
shape.
Get back.
They can't.
Or they don't have the tools anymore because their body's completely changed. So now when they're in prep,
the metabolism is different, right?
Yeah, everything's functioning different. So it's like, you're trying to figure things out again. But that's just how it goes, really.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the Toronto, I think, and I got to qualify first, so probably be the Lennox.
Yeah,
So I'm going to give her.
I don't think you'll have an issue.
I think
You have no
5
issue
weeks before.
qualifying.
Corey's going to be pissed, but that's okay.
Well, maybe I'll just do both of them. They're only a week apart, aren't they?
What's that?
The PEI show?
Lennox?
Yeah, I mean, like,
so.
I think it's better. I think it's better for people to do, like, if you're going to compete, you should try and do 2 or within 3 weeks, you should try and do a couple shows.
You get better every show. I find you always get better every show.
The second if I do 2 shows, I'm always better the second show.
Yeah.
Like within the 2 weeks span or 3 week. If it goes any longer than 3 weeks, no, I won't be better. I'll be worse.
Yeah, it's too long.
Too long. I just I fall off the wagon and try to get back on. There's a goal. It just staggers along.
Well, when you're this is another thing too. Like if you're doing amateur shows, I really think, like for example, Dylan did 3 shows this summer doing his pro debut, and like doing the 3rd show was a lot. But if he was just still an amateur, it would have been like kind of dumb,
Yeah.
Like, what do you really get out of it?
Yeah, like we only planned to do 2, but the 3rd one was kind of like, we did the 2nd show and he talked to Steve, like the head judge, and he was like, yeah, you could, it would make sense if you wanted to do another show. So like we kind of knew that option was on the table. But I think once you start, unless you're unless you do like a 2nd show, say you do Toronto and you win your class and you get in the overall and the judges' feedback is like, you're literally one show, make a couple of improvements, go to the next show. Yeah. Or, I think the other part too is it just depends on how you're feeling really ultimately. Like
if the body can handle it, really.
Extra shows when I shouldn't have, but I think you have to have it all kind of. You tore something this year, didn't you, Jamie?
Yeah, I tore my bicep 3 weeks out from the Toronto Pro.
So
we did the leg. Yeah, I got it fixed. Yeah.
Dude,
I had the surgery done Monday, and I was back in the gym Friday night.
I know, that's crazy.
How old are you?
I just turned 50 in August.
Man, that's crazy.
And you keep you're still getting better, which is the crazy thing.
Like, I don't want to be on a fucking stage at 50. I know, man. I'm like way done by then.
Well, I just don't seem to feel like I'm ready to be done. I know it's all still fun, and I love the atmosphere. I love eating. I don't mind the diet. The diet seems to be better than when I was younger.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what I mean? It seems to be a little easier for me now. Maybe because I'm older and calmer and things don't bother me as quick, maybe, or I don't know. It's just, but yeah, my body seems to be responding still good. So,
I think every show we've done, Jamie, you've said, I think this is my last one, man. I think I'm gonna back her in here, and then you're back out there again the next year.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking, I'm done doing that. Fucking, I'll just leave. I'll just leave my show.
I think the one thing that's important with any of it is like kind of having that mindset that, you could walk away or it could be your last show.
Right.
Because I mean, realistically, you have to stop sometime, whatever it is. And in my experience, the guys that have gone out without thinking about it and it just like happens, like it's kind of a bitter, scenario. Usually just like disappear, right?
And even for me, like I'm not worried about when I'm done. I'm not worried about what I'm going to do or what I'm going to, who I'm going to be or anything. That's not even crossed my mind. It's just a matter of I still like it. I still love it. Now, when I do in prep, you can tell if your body's not responding and things are not looking the way. But once that happens, I'll finish the prep and then that'll be it probably.
Yeah.
But I'm never going to put a day on it because I just still love it. So it's just it's all fun. It's all fun. Yeah. I mean, I would love to do the Toronto and Masters and get a pro card maybe, and then that would kind of seal the deal. But that would be a good out. Whether that's kind of the goal, really. I mean,
and I think that's doable for you for sure.
Well, I seen the last year's Toronto Pro, and I mean, there's some big boys, so I put a good little push on there this last off season, and I'm still going. So I was like one pretty good shape of 193, 94, and then I went up to 213, 214, and kind of holding my own a little bit there. So I'm going to stay there for a bit. But I hit the top. I can't. And as much as I've ate, my stomach was always protruding. So uncomfortable. It wasn't even funny. I never did this before. I just decided it was going to be time to try something. And
as Dusty Hanshaw says, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable, man.
I was uncomfortable all the fucking time.
I think the other part of it too, like especially with calorie surplus, is you really have to stick with food that you can digest all the time. Like you can't really get fancy with like trying to put in calories. I just feel like gut issues tend to be like, especially as we all get older, right? And like the amount of shit we've done over the years with everything, food, partying, and fucking bodybuilding, and just like all that
none
shit
of it's
over the years.
None of it's good for you.
No.
Yeah, it's just like your gut, like especially in the off season, I find, if you have the wrong, 70 grams of carbs for a meal.
Yeah.
Or that could put you on the floor.
Big thing I've noticed for me is like seed oils. I try and get nothing like cereal, like any of the processed foods or anything, just like soybean oil or any of that. I just take that out completely. And I've noticed a huge difference because it's in literally fucking everything now.
Yeah, it's so cheap, right? They'll just jam it in and put it in anything, and it's. So what does like a typical day of like your off season look like, Dana, coming up?
I'm gonna have to I still have to get a hold of Julian and figure out what we're gonna do moving forward. But typically with everything we've done, we've kept it like five or six meals. I usually do like a meal in the morning. Honestly, I have steak usually in the mornings. That's kind of how he's had me doing it. And rice. Usually do cream of rice around training. Like I keep everything around training.
That'd be like your pre-workout?
Yeah, like isolate cream of rice.
Yeah.
Post training, I'm usually doing chicken or fish I usually just stick to jasmine rice, honestly, for like my carbs, and fats are like olive oil or avocado, some natural peanut butter. I do prefer haddock. Honestly, nice. I could eat that all year round. And I find it's the only protein, like if I switch to that, like I can do some beef pretty good, but like salmon, some like high quality steak, or even there's a market that I live close to here. They've got grass-fed beef. I find those proteins, they feel great.
Really?
Chicken is fine for me, but sometimes if I'm having all my meals chicken, I just notice a little bit of bloating.
Right. Okay.
For sure.
The same way.
I'm cheap as fuck and go to Walmart for chicken, so I'm sure it's not.
Oh man, that's where I get mine.
I'm sure it's not the greatest chicken.
Well, if you're getting like grass-fed beef, I think that's Walmart chicken. I think that's fine.
Well, yeah, it's like the fish I'm getting up here is it's not like the processed shit from like Sobeys or whatever.
Yeah,
it's usually shit right from the fishermen. So every time I have that white fish, man, it's just like you can feel the difference of how like everything feels, especially when you're eating like 60, 70 grams of protein from the meal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my meals are pretty basic, man.
Like just simple, easy to make.
I'm assuming my rice would be like probably up to like 300 grams a meal in the off season, something like that, which is not really fun.
No.
And probably like carbs around training. I usually add he usually adds me like 25 or 50 depending on what's going on.
Nice.
But yeah, I think like ultimately for me, and I know this is going to be like over the next 6 weeks is going to be like really getting my food intake up to a consistent amount. And then same thing with training, just like kind of every week, a little bit more volume. And we'll probably start my off season in January.
Oh, nice.
And probably go till May.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like it. So then what's the plan after May?
Plan.
I think for me, it'll be fall to compete. Yeah, because
right. Good.
It depends. Like, to be honest, I don't really want to get on stage until I've made a significant improvement in my physique. So,
I feel
if
you
I
there.
can make crazy improvements to make, like from not doing an off season and like honestly taking this time off has been great. Like I feel so good. I thought mentally it would be a little bit more challenging for me, but honestly it's been extremely good,
Right.
which is a win. You know, like I've been able to get through the not training, you know, because it's you just like want to fucking do something, you know,
Right.
like I want to lift some shit. But I think the difference is like also knowing that it's out of your control. Like it's not like I didn't have a surgery,
Right.
you know, it's like one of those deload. I'm going to take some time off the gym bullshit. So I'm just pumped. I'm really excited. I miss the gym, man. It feels like.
Oh, we lost him.
He didn't charge his phone. He put it in the wrong spot.
Yeah, his phone must have. There he goes.
Hello.
Oh, there he goes. Hey. What
it feels just like that. It's like it feels like a girl broke up with you, and you're like,
I was like, oh god.
The suspense. I love it.
I was like, not again.
It felt like I literally like lost something super important to me. Like I've missed the gym. I've been thinking about it. And it's like the first time in a long time I've like felt that way about the gym. I'm like, man, like it'd be so nice to go to work, get a workout in, and like, which is good because like I kind of feel like a teenager right now. I'm like really excited to start working out again, you know?
Right.
So honestly, I think that's going to be super motivating for me because, you know, I think the contest stuff right now has been great, but to go and do another show kind of just feels like going to school every day.
Right.
Like, you know, you're going to go and you're going to do all this and you kind of know how it's all going to go. Whereas like the off season, I'm kind of a little nervous about it. Like, I'm like, fuck, like, you know, it's going to be really hard to eat the meals. The training's going to be really hard. I really fucking hate putting on weight. Like because like now, like
I'm right.
Before, like I've been sitting like 270, 275, like kind of before all the surgery, and like it's not fun, man, to be quite honest. Like I'm pretty mobile and stuff, but like it's fucking heavy. Like I can feel that weight.
Like
feel your pain
when you're that heavy. When you're that heavy, do you find it's like trouble like functioning and like just doing like tying your shoes, walking upstairs, like what does being heavy for you feel like?
Yeah, I mean, like it's not too bad because like if I'm in the so post show, my weight shot up to like 270, but it was like fucking water, and I felt horrible because it's like but it was just like it took like 4 or 5 days, and I was down to like 260. I felt a lot better, but when I was up to like 270 this last time, it was more like quality weight. I didn't feel as bad, but as long as I'm using my CPAP, I'm pretty good, man. Like if I don't use my CPAP,
you got one of those, cool,
Yeah, I've had it since 2015. Nice. Yeah, I'm a long.
You find a big difference?
Oh, dude, I can't function. Yeah. I can't live without it. Yeah, it's a huge difference.
I find like right now for me, I'm sitting.
Do you have it?
I'm pushing like 230, and I'm a lot smaller of a guy than you. So like I wake up fucking 15 times a night, man. So it's a lot of weight for me. Like it's not a heavy weight, but I feel like I've definitely. My girlfriend sleeps like a rock, so I can't get feedback from her to say like, am I waking up? Am I like stopping breathing? Am I gasping? Like she won't really tell me because she's out like a light. But I feel like I'm up and down like a million times a night.
Yeah, the biggest thing is so in 2014 I did Canadian Nationals, and I got down to making weight. I was 225.5. Like that was the limit. Made that weight, and then so that was like the first week of September. So by the end of October, I was 275. Like I just fucking up. Like, and I wasn't even like binge eating or anything. It's just literally like
that's just
so depleted and stuff. Mm-hmm. So by the time I got up there, literally it was like waking up in the mornings. And I was going to school at the time. I would make it to lunch, and I would have to nap in my fucking car to make it to the end of the school day, like for lunch. Like my lunch, I would slam my meal, and I would sleep for like 40 minutes just to get to the end of the day, to go home to nap again before the gym. And then I would get
That
home,
sounds
do
horrible.
some homework, and I'd have to, like, I was just tired all the time, man. Like, and I was sleeping, like I was out all night. It just got to a point where, like, I told my parents, I was like, I really don't know what to do, because I've never felt so like consistently tired. And then when I got a sleep test, they're like, yeah, it was like mild, but
Just enough, right, to mess you up.
once I hit 230, I started snoring. Like, it was like a structural thing. Like, if I'm on my back, like, my dad's 200 pounds, that's 6'1". Like, he's not obese at all, but if he's on his back, it's a structural thing. Like, he just can't breathe. So even now, like, if I sleep on my side, I'm pretty good. But using the CPAP, man, like, I could get 4 hours on that, and you would feel like you had a full night.
Man, maybe I should just do that anyways, even if I don't need it. It sounds
Because you
nice.
just, like, the PAP part of it, it adjusts based on the pressure you need to get the amount of oxygen. So then what happens is then you start to, like, synchronize with it. I just have the nose one. I don't have the full one.
I was just going to ask that.
I was going to say.
Yeah. And that's the one that works fine for me. It's always, the nose one's always been good. But, like, literally, your REM sleep is 100% all night, And I mean, at the cellular level, like, for example, say you stop. So, like, an apnea event is when you stop breathing.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah, Morgan was saying, because Morgan has one, and for the longest time he didn't, and I was just like, I don't know how the fuck you can't. Like, I don't know how you don't have one. And he was like, he just never thought of it. But then he ended up getting one because his girlfriend at the time, he would go a minute without breathing. Like, he would go like a full minute, stuff like that. But that's the thing, right? Like, every time you stop breathing, your body has to wake up to get you to breathe again. So if that's happening, you're like, you can't go into a REM sleep. So you might be, like, sleeping. It's kind of like they say too, like with the snooze alarm, because it takes you like 30 or 40 minutes to get into a proper sleep cycle, where people like, they'll hit the snooze, and then 7 minutes later they're kind of halfway in, and it wakes them back up, and they go back in, and then they wake up and they're like, oh man, I'm so tired. Like, I slept all night. But a lot of it's that too. Like, you never really can get in your sleep cycle. So I would, like, before I had it, I just feel fucking like I drank all night. Like, I wake up and like, and dry it out. That's the other thing too. Like, you put distilled water in it, and you can adjust the hydration, like how much humidity you want. So,
that's neat.
If I go somewhere it's drier, I'll turn the humidity up. If it's, in the summertime, you can turn the humidity lower. So you wake up and, like, everything's hydrated. And yeah, man, the thing's like biohacking pretty much.
That's pretty sick. Yeah. I think, what is it? One of our other guys that's not Andy Briggs, he's usually on with us, but he's sick today. He's having a really hard time. I think he's getting one, or he's just got one of those. But
I would just say get a sleep study done.
Yeah, he got one, and it was horrible. He was extremely surprised on how bad his sleep was. You don't really know. You just think you're tired all day, but then there you go.
Yeah, and I think the big difference now is that, like, if you look at 20 years ago, even, which is not really, like, so that's like what, fucking 2003.
Yeah.
The people that medically needed CPAPs were just super fat, like super overweight, right? And that not necessarily true. Like, there's probably, but like the handful of people that were bodybuilding or like working out and like, recreationally using PEDs, like, actually that, like, there's more people now that are like, the average fitness person's like structurally bigger than they're supposed to be, and it's affecting sleep, especially when you add in stress and just like,
oh yeah,
because it's no different too. Like, how there's some people that don't snore, but if they do something like, they go snowboarding for 10 hours and they come home and they're just like, or kids, they have like couple, games in a day, and they get home and they're just like trying to suck back air.
Right. Yeah.
That's the other thing too. Like, I've noticed with the CPAP is like, because I have it, like, it measures everything I do. So like, there's been days where I know I've been extra tired, and I look and my pressure is like 5 or 6 amount, like the amount, like, I don't know, sometimes it's at like 9 centimeters or 10 or whatever it is. And then days I'm extra tired, it might go up to like 15 or 16. And that's just like the pressure that it needs to put in. So that's the other thing too. Like the cool thing about the machine is like, no matter what kind of state you're in, like if you need less pressure or more, it kind of just adjusts to your breathing needs. So it's kind of cool. It just kind of basically forces your body to stay in the proper sleep cycle.
That's really awesome. That's really cool.
It's bad if you get it stuffed up nose. Like if you're sick and I have the nose one, like, you know, you'll stop, like it'll just choke you in the night and stuff. And I've had girlfriends say it's been interesting because they're like laying there and like I'll stop breathing and it'll like kickstart you. And, like start you back up. You like sometimes your mouth will open and it'll like fuck up the pressure and then it'll just like readjust and like kind of force you back into like pressurizing into the system.
Weird. That's weird.
That is weird. But
like a defibrillator.
Yeah, are you okay? Clear. Yeah, it's interesting because it's just like without it, like I don't even know, man, if I could bodybuild, to be quite honest. Like it'd be miserable.
Right. Interesting.
But
that's really interesting. That'd be something definitely to look at. And for probably a lot of other listeners to check it out if you're like, if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling exhausted through the day and you think you're sleeping, you know, like.
Dude, we already take so much fucking risk.
Yeah.
The last thing I need to do is not get enough oxygen throughout the night while I'm trying to recover. And like, honestly.
That's it. All you have to tell people, it's going to mess up your gains if you're not sleeping. So,
well, no, but it will, right?
It will.
You know? And
so then maybe that's going to encourage people to do it.
There's some people like, I know Ian Valier, he never needed one. I think he's done sleep tests and stuff like that. And like, he just structurally has never needed one, which blows my mind. But I mean, yeah, like I said, go get a sleep study done. If it comes up really fucking bad, address it.
Right.
You know, if it's not that bad, you know, unless you have insurance, they're pretty fucking expensive.
Really?
So Amazon.
Dana,
there you
tell
go.
us a story about. I always wanted to ask it. I mean, I wouldn't do it where we meet each other and stuff, but here I will. Tell us a story about the time he's made leave the stage at the National.
Before
I never knew if you lost points or if you were done or because you were in the running there too, weren't you? Like it was.
Yeah, I don't know if we lost points over that because it was kind of right at the finals, right? Doing the like.
Was it? Right.
Doing the 30-second pose down shit. Right
before you mention this, I heard about this for the first time like a month ago on Bro Chat. They mentioned this.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Let's hear it right from the mouth.
Yeah.
It was actually a pretty big show. So there was 2014 Nationals in Laval. This is right before I told you guys I got the CPAP there, same kind of time frame. So it's funny because that prep was like, I did that prep I lived in Lethbridge, Alberta. And Colin Hunt that year had helped me out with Atlantics. And so I decided to do this prep because I was 22 and fucking going to get in trouble. So I was like, I should just do this show. Just keep myself focused. So
keep yourself straight, right?
I had told him kind of what I was doing with everything and just kind of like bouncing things off of him. I did a lot of drugs, man. I think that's the most drugs I did my entire career for that show. It was a lot.
Let's.
But there was like the last. I'm
going to put a pin in that, and I want to revisit that in a little bit because I have a couple questions about that too. But okay.
Yeah. So the last 4 weeks was really like I just threw the whole kitchen sink at myself. Got in really good shape, and then I came home for a week here in Nova Scotia. Can't remember why. I think there was. I moved back home because I had school. I was going to school. So I like spent the summer out in Alberta. So I moved back home and then it was like flew to Quebec, Laval. I didn't eat for like 16 hours or drink because I had to make that 225 or I had it in my head that I wanted to make it. That was pretty shitty. So Yeah, I did a little bit of like some voodoo science crap too, like the whole like used insulin to carb load, and then I used a really strong diuretic to pull the water off, and it worked out fucking wonderful. It went really well.
Such a risk,
We
though.
did we did the prejudging. We did the prejudging. That went really fine, and like we came back for the finals, and Tony Searle and Debbie. So Debbie, who's the head judge at the time, Debbie Karpinko or whatever, she really hated Tony Searle, and Tony Searle was a little bit of like a, I don't know what you want to call, like he was a little cocky, but like not in a bad way, like just on stage and stuff. But they really didn't fucking like each other. So when we were doing the pose down, Tony literally went and did a back double bicep, but like hauled his trunks up like right in front of her. And so then I didn't even really think about like how the shit looked. So I kind of did the same thing. And then I was just like contracting my glutes at the same time, like just to be a fucking idiot, right?
Gyrating, I think they called it.
Yeah. So the story is she was checking the scorecards and stuff like that, right? She's here and she looks up and Tony's ass is right in her face, right? And I'm doing this thing. So then she just like stopped the pose down, like, and so we stopped. And then she was like, yeah, exit the stage, like my number and her number or his number. And he was kind of like rolling his eyes like, oh yeah, like fuck her type thing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, honestly, so out of it that I was like, what just happened? So I went off and one of the ladies, Cindy, she helps out at the Toronto Pro all the time. I think she does the microphone. Like you would have heard her at Nationals, like bring all the people out. So Cindy was like, and I hadn't really met her before. So like I came off the stage and she was right there. And I was like, what did I do? I was like, and she was like,
we do that at home all the time.
Yeah, I was like, I just like seen a female, and I was like, I needed my mom. I was like, what did I do? Like, what am I supposed to do?
What happened?
And she was like, don't worry about it. She's like, just go out there and apologize to her like right now. And I was like, right on. So they called us back out, and I just went up to her and like kneeled down and was like, hey, I'm really sorry. Like, won't happen again. And she was like, yeah, okay, like no problem.
Okay,
so
cool.
I don't really care. I'm like,
I didn't hear that part.
I don't want to like this. We're in Quebec at the CBBF Nationals. I'm like, I don't want to piss off anybody here. Like this is, I don't want to be getting kicked off stage. But yeah, then that was kind of it. They gave us our placings, and I mean, like later on, I kind of clued in because I didn't know anything about like because it was just a lot of Quebec and Ontario drama, like.
And you just kind of got pulled into it a little bit.
Kind of, not really. I mean, I definitely, jumped into the, well, I don't know what you want to call it.
A little unaware.
It didn't look as good as I thought it looked from my Yeah, and I didn't. The thing is, I didn't know that like he was trying to like piss her off a little bit. Like he literally, kind of posted up for a back double, but then like. Took his fingers and put his trunks up, but I didn't know I didn't know any kind of intentions.
Yeah. That's a good story, though.
Yeah, that show. I think Dorian did that show. Tony Searle did that show. Shreve did that show, and Shreve got. Nice. I think he got second. And there was the guy that won our class in the heavyweights. He won the pro card.
Okay.
Cool.
No, did he? Yeah, he won the second overall because they always gave two. Mm-hmm. And then that was the year that Johnny Dool did that show, and I thought he should have won personally, and he got like fourth. And like Jerome Bravo won, and yeah, that was kind of like I think there was some Benjamin Franklin's involved in that one.
Right? Yeah, some kind of.
It's hard to say, man, because like
uncertain.
Back in the CBBF days, I mean, that shit was definitely political. Like everything that went on at that level. Now, I'm not saying that people shouldn't have won, or like I'm not even like. Right. It's just that so much stuff has came out about like, especially Buddy, who was the president there, and Georgina had to take over. Like he had some sexual assault stuff. That's why he kind of disappeared in 2014, actually, and then I think. For Nationals in Edmonton, Georgina was like president. And it's like,
Mhm.
why would they make somebody from fucking Nova Scotia the president of the organization? You know what I mean? There was a lot of stuff that I remember. Remembers that James guy, the James Ayotte, who does that coaching. He did that whole fucking spiel on the CBBF,
Right.
when all that stuff came out, and I was like, huh, all these people involved in all this shit. I'm like, right on. That was all happening. Nobody knew.
Yeah.
We didn't know any of that stuff, right?
Speaking of Johnny, oh, sorry, go ahead. Finish, Dan.
There was the stuff in New Brunswick too,
Yeah, that's
that
right.
I won't comment on, but like there was a lot of shit going on, man. Like that's just like years of just like.
Unfortunately, I think
their name.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Johnny, have you heard what is Johnny up to these days? Or have you spoken to him, or have you seen Johnny?
I think
he's in
2017.
I think he's in Ontario. I heard doing the family and kids thing.
Okay, right on.
Yeah, he kind of I mean, we obviously haven't talked a lot about that stuff. At this point, it's a lot different because it's been so long now. But I think kind of in 2016, he was going through some things.
Can we step back for a second? And I just want to, for people that are watching, kind of go back to like the beginning where you and Johnny were like a tag team almost. It seemed like on social media, anyways. It was like you guys, right?
The gruesome,
yeah. So
we
Dana Baker and Johnny Dow like coming in together. You guys were like the big boys out of the East Coast coming up. And you guys even had like a little documentary about each other, or Johnny did, and there was like you guys were the big news. Yeah,
Mutant documentary on him.
So then
that was for that show in the 2014 Nationals. All kind of connected.
Right.
We competed against each other at my second show in 2012 Atlantics. I think Derek did that show too.
I did, yeah. I was there.
Yeah. So we did juniors, and I remember training in Halifax and Greg telling me, he was like, "You're not going to beat this kid at this show." And he was like showing me pictures of him. And I was like, holy shit.
He
like,
looked nuts.
He looked crazy. And I think like at the time, you know, the great thing about bodybuilding for me then was like, I literally, like I wasn't competitive yet to the point where like, I just wanted to prep and I just wanted to do it. And I just loved the training and stuff like that. Right. So when I saw him, I was kind of just like, holy shit. Like, you know, like I've never seen anybody like that. Mm-hmm. The only person that looked similar to him at the time was when I saw Ian Valliere had won junior nationals in 2011, the year before. And I was like, holy shit. Like these guys are like my age. Like, so when we did that show, we kind of connected over, I think, Facebook over the summer. And I had moved out to actually Alberta, was living out in Calgary. And then the Nationals was out in Edmonton that year. So I went and spent the weekend with him, and he won the junior nationals out there. I think he beat Robin Strand. I think Robin was his competition. And so like after that, we kind of just, I mean, it's not like we had a super close friendship at that time. But like we kind of got each other. And then there was, I had come back to Nova Scotia, and we kind of just, training was where we really kind of vibed together.
Right.
You know, he trained really hard. I trained really hard. So like we just kind of vibed like that. And then fast forward to 2013, when I moved back to Nova Scotia, me and him had spent a lot more time training because he used to work out west and he would come home. So we would train like at least once a week or like on the weekends.
Nice.
And then kind of like our friendship kind of got closer. And then in 2015, so like after this 2014, we had, I spent that summer in Alberta, and then we came together at the show, and then we did photo shoots. We did a couple photo shoots in Miami together. And then we got a lot of content, and we just started spending more time together. And then 2014 into 2015, we had spent a lot of time training together. And then in March of 2015, he kind of got me on with Mutant, and then we started it kind of made sense.
I was curious on how that was going to be one of my other questions about how that happened the first time.
Yeah. So, I mean, 2015 was a great year for me, man. I started working with Matt Jansen when he was like really new to coaching. Mm-hmm. And dude, like that was the first time I'd ever, like I said, that was my first like off season where I did like a real training plan. And like at the time I was so worried about like disappointing him as a client that my training was wicked. Like I was doing like 6 plates for like 10 or 12 and squats every week. I think about it now and I'm like, that's wild. Like I don't know how, but it's also too like the training over the years, like I never stopped, right? Like it was just like one prep into like I never missed a leg day, I never missed anything. But yeah, like that prep leading into 2015 nationals, I get on with Mutant and like working with Matt Jansen. So it was like really exciting because I just kind of was like, felt like I was working with someone that kind of was able to push me beyond.
Yeah, that really
I just had to show up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So after 2015, that show, there was just like some personal stuff that he was going through for like 6 or 7 or 8 months. So like after that show in the summer, we had both been dating people that we were kind of close. Like we had like the four of us, like his girlfriend and my girlfriend at the time, we'd spent a lot of time together. But then like I was going to do the Arnold's in 2016. Usually I would wait till nationals. So I did the Arnold's and then I did the Gladiator or the Nova Scotias and then I did the Gladiator. So like my whole year was like prepping and I was working and it's just like he was going through some stuff and like it kind of got to a point where like at the time like I was like I just can't be involved with all this stuff. Like I'm
right.
I'm trying to keep doing this thing that we were always doing like with the bodybuilding and like you just can't fucking take your eye off the ball. And
you can't let up even for other people's shit.
No, and like at the time, like, you know, it was really tough. Like he was like a brother to me, but like it was just for the first time in my life, like I had that feeling. I'm like, man, like I gotta really step back from this relationship, which is like, how the fuck do you do that, right?
Right.
So that I was actually first people. You know, there's some stuff that went on, like none of my business, but like it's one of the first people that was kind of like taking a step away from just my relationship with him, and it was not like. It wasn't personal at all. It was just a matter of like where I was at in my life. And then, you know, after 100%. That, it kind of just kept rolling that way, you know?
Yeah. Dealing with stuff, you guys just kind of like, you know, had different priorities at the time, right? And then just kind of, it just happens.
Yeah. And I mean, like,
and then
there's also stuff too, where it's like, you know, you can only do so much for people with anything that's going on.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, dude, I was 23, 24. Like I was 23 turning 24. Like I was a kid, you know, I didn't know.
You're still not understanding the world around us that much. We're still super hyper focused on ourselves. And
like I often forget, like I was young.
Yeah.
Really, for real. Like even I was not naive at all, like with a lot of things, but yeah, I was young, man. And like, he was young and, you know, it's crazy because like it's all water under the bridge at this point, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was it sucked really. Like if we had stayed doing our thing, we could have probably did a lot more marketing stuff and like
especially now that, you know,
he easily could have been a very successful pro.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
He did come back and do a show though, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I think he did the 2017 PEI and he did Classic and he looked really good.
So. Yeah, he was always peeled. Like
that was like I think I saw him too. So like mind you, I seen him at the 2018 Atlantics. I think he was there. I kind of saw him there. I didn't really talk to him, but yeah, that's I haven't seen or heard from him, man, in years. Like well over 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hope he's doing well. That's all I can say. Put it out
there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
He is. He's a family man now. So, Josh, you said?
That's what I've heard, and just recently anyways. So.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I think the one thing I can say from that relationship, you know, regardless of like how things ended up or all that, like he definitely took me under his wing and like made me like kind of demand more of myself. Like he was always like, you can do so much better. Like you need to take this more serious, you know, like training wise and just everything. He was kind of like a leader for a long time, you know, like when he did his preps
That's
and all his
awesome.
stuff, like
Yeah.
it's like boom, boom, boom. So like I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at today, you know, without my relationship with him, especially in bodybuilding. Like, you know, he really like, especially just like mindset with intensity and just like, you know, he
Drive.
really like, for the longest time, man, he really believed in himself, you know, and like being around that for so long, it kind of get the idea of like what that takes because there's always things that come along that, you know, throw that self-belief off or
all the
cloud it.
time. I think Do you have that now? Like, since you're like quite a successful bodybuilder and you've done so well and done so many shows, do you still get that self doubt when you're going into a competition? I do. I even though I know I look fucking good, I still am like, oh my god, I still am backstage going, I don't know about this. I shouldn't be here. I don't deserve to be here. What am I doing? Like,
No, I don't think I have issues with that. I think the bigger problems that I've dealt with over the last, you know, say like 5 or 6 years, because I started my career in railroading right after 2016.
if we actually mean, if people that are watching, we actually mean the actual railroad on the train. So,
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah,
just want
Yeah.
to clear that up.
Yeah. So I'm a locomotive engineer and I'm a locomotive conductor.
Are you
I'm not
still doing
working.
that? Or is there,
No,
or
I'm not
Dana?
working there anymore, but like I have all the credentials and all that stuff.
Right.
Definitely like adjusting to that job and like, you know, still like I tried to bot like it definitely there was a disconnect from my mindset and my motivation with bodybuilding for probably a good couple years, but then getting back into like taking things seriously, there wasn't really an issue of like self belief. It was just more like, you know, am I actually able to be as good as I can be with the career side of things? But then it's like for a long time there, it's like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And make, you know, it's $100,000 a year job. Like it's not horrible. Like it wasn't horrible with like training and stuff like that. And there was definitely different aspects of the job where it was a little bit easier physically, but it ultimately it was just the environment of working for a corporation and like the risk that comes with the job and like the guys that you work with who are great, but like just the lifestyle and like
The
all that stuff.
lifestyle
It was always
behind it.
conflicting,
Yep.
always conflicting. So I definitely think there's been a lot of that involved over the years. But you know, more so just like, you know, well, what if I didn't work this job and like had to did that show? Just a lot of stuff that's like irrelevant,
Yeah.
you know.
The what ifs. Yeah.
But I don't have any regrets with it, man. Like, you know, it was definitely a decision I wanted to make to work with that job and career. And, you know, it's just over the years, we just like, I've just butt heads working at that company. And yeah, I'm just doing the coaching full time now. And I think it's a much better decision.
Yeah.
It's definitely stressful because it's not like, you know, I grew accustomed to working for the man, you know, and like good benefits, good pay, show up to work, do your job. So it's definitely an adjustment switching to working for myself.
Do you find that's turned into a 24-hour gig now? Especially coaching. I know coaching can be very like all-consuming and very giving of yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on like. There's a couple shows where I've had, you know, 5 or 6 clients doing the same show, and like those peak weeks are a lot, you know, because you're doing pretty much daily updates for everyone every day. So you have all of that going on, and then you've got your other regular clients. So, I mean, but at the same time too, it's like, that's the thing about that has just like been doing more shows, kind of getting like, you know, having more people going at the same time, and like also taking the time to like, I've been really good at just like sending lists of things to people, like, you know, having people prepared so that I don't have to play like, ah, shit, I should have told you that a couple days ago, blah, blah, blah.
It's a checklist.
Yeah, like kind of making it easier on myself. Yeah, the one that was kind of hard is I had 2 clients in the natural show here, and I had Dylan doing Vancouver, and I was out there. So
that would be rough. Yeah,
it's like a 4-hour time change, and like it was only the 3 of them, but like that was still just having the time change. Like I know Morgan this past weekend, he had like 4 or 5 clients in a flex, and then he had a guy in BC doing the show too. So he was just like, you know, flat out all day, getting up early for his other client. Or no, didn't have to get up early. That was the other way around when I was out there. He had.
You had
it worked good, but yeah, when I was out in Vancouver, it was like I had to get up at like 3 a.m.
to
do check-ins. But I mean, yeah, it's
that
definitely
makes you a good coach, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's more challenging, and I also had 2 people do the Quebec show. I worked with Danique, and he had won the overall at Quebec, and the other guy, Chris McNeil, he's from up New Brunswick. They were both doing the Quebec show.
Chris McNeil.
Yeah, and I was 2 weeks out, so I was there. Man, I was so fucked that whole weekend. I was just like, no food. It wasn't too bad, but it was just like that was a challenge too, because I'm just like, you know, making sure I'm not, you know, losing my mind, because it's just like you're walking around so much, and it's just like so much energy. It was a big like venue too, right? So yeah, I think the biggest thing is just like the anticipation of all those environments. Like I've been to all those shows, like as a competitor or not as a competitor. So it's like being in those environments, it's just like being aware of, you know, what I can handle.
Yeah, for sure.
Where did we how did we even get all the way here?
I don't know, man.
Oh, we're talking about self-belief.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think that's so just to end that, for me, I think that's the one thing I've never really struggled with is like my potential. Like I know what I'm capable of doing, just in terms of shape, and like there's guys that are qualified for the Olympia this year. Like,
fair.
You know, like I have that experience of competing against some really good guys and beating them like over the years. And so it's just a matter of like, oh, okay, so they've progressed here. If I can get myself up to there, I know I'm going to be competitive. It's not a matter of if I can do it. It's just a matter of doing, you know, certain things. And I think the biggest thing now is like moving away from the railroad career and just focusing on bodybuilding just for my physical, you know, I've just noticed even the past, like, because last year too, I wasn't working there either when I was doing preps, and everything just was better. Like everything just functioned better, you know, mentally and stuff like that. But yeah.
Cool. I have a couple questions before I don't want to keep too much of your time, but I have a couple questions that I'd like to bring back up, if that's cool. And
sure.
I don't know what you guys have. You mentioned about that one of the shows where you just had like you just kind of
did a lot of drugs.
Yeah, and I want to take that show and put that towards like your last show that you did, and like the looks that came out of either one, and like how like a whole bunch, and I'm probably I could assume that it was like a lot less this time around.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done that much since.
Right. So like how that affected you compared to like other shows when you've done less. Because I'm always trying to put on is like a lot or like
I definitely think like everything worked extremely well that time, and like I had probably one of my better looks in terms of like my skin, like everything was just like wild. But I just think now, if I was to take certain amounts of certain things, like I'm just not gonna see. There's like a really large.
You won't get the return, like the.
Yeah, like, and I've never really needed to take a lot of stuff to see progress. Fortunately,
Yep.
you know, like I remember there's a few shows I did when I was younger, and I was talking backstage with some guys, and they were telling me what they did, and I was like, man, I've got like 60 pounds in this guy, and I've taken half of what he took. Right, like there's a guy in like light heavyweights, and I'm like 225 at like whatever 21 or 20, and this guy's like 180, and it's like literally double what I was taking, and it, probably using the same brand of stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, but that's the other thing too. It's like, you know, it really, I really think a lot of that stuff is all subjective to like just genetics.
Right.
I hate to say
and how
that,
your receptors
like,
can handle everything.
Well,
yeah,
and
not even so much like shape of how you look. I mean, obviously that's a factor, but like just the ability to react.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your body react.
Some people are hyper responders, and some people just could take a shit ton and look like a bag of garbage, right? Like I know those people. That's the majority, I think, that go to the gym, right?
I also think
the average gym goer takes just as much or more, right?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah. I'd say recreational PED use is at the highest it's ever been.
Oh,
you
for
know,
sure.
in terms of like, everybody, if you take the populace. But like I remember I did my first cycle when I was 18 and a half in 2010.
Man,
and I used pharmacy testosterone. And I mean, that shit, man, like that was like, that was like an incredible experience. But like a lot of stuff that you could get back then that was pharmaceutical, man, it worked really good.
Yeah.
And I don't remember stuff working like that anymore. So I don't know. It depends. Like nowadays, and especially with clients or people that I help, you know, manage that stuff with, some cases it's hard to really know, you know, like you don't really know what they're using.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So there's also that factor of like quality. And I know with a lot of coaches in the US, they have a lot of trouble with that because there's a bigger black market in the US because it's
like oversaturated with crap.
People.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot more fake stuff because if people are going to buy something and you don't really have it, they'll still sell it anyways.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They just like, they have the DEA down there, you know, we don't have that here.
Yeah.
And it's also legal.
Right.
It's heavily illegal there.
Yeah, it's Schedule 1. It's no different than like narcotics in the US, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's a little strange. Yeah, so in terms of like just in terms of like your overall your overall look, you wouldn't find there was like a heck of a lot of difference between the large amount and the low amount. I'm just like, are you on the other end of like less is more now? Kind of like where people are starting to go towards.
I mean,
I found my best look was absolutely the least amount as possible is when I looked the best.
I mean, like when I did that, I was like 4 weeks of just like, it wasn't like a long period of time that I had to do a lot of stuff, and it made a significant difference. I definitely got away with that. Like those were not some pretty numbers. Like it definitely got away with like not getting a lot of damage. You know, had I have done that for 12 weeks, had I have done that for 12 weeks, you know,
not
but
so much.
I would say now it's more like, so I've been working with Julian since last June. So 2020, so like 18 months now.
Yeah.
So we've been just kind of going on how my body's been responding to what we've been doing and kind of keeping things there. Like I would say now that I'm like back, you know, have a month off the gym, like I can probably take a lot less for a while because I need to build my tissue and everything back up. Cause that's the other thing too. Like it depends on like what's going on. Like, you know, Morgan was here and he was 325 and he's cruising right now. So you look at him and you're like, oh, so like you're able to maintain your weight and size, but he also hasn't missed a meal, hasn't stopped training ever, right? Like there's so many factors. I'd say right now, like I'll be able to I'll have to work my way up, you know, and that's mostly just going to be able like eating for 6 weeks. I need to eat for 6 weeks before I can consider really putting anything,
Yep.
you know,
Anything extra.
Well, yeah, like drugs.
Yeah.
Drugs play a major role, but like diet is everything. You know what I mean? Diet's going to control how you look, in my opinion. Because there's been
100%.
preps where I've taken a crazy amount of things and looked really good, but when I look back at that prep, my diet was fucking bang on that whole time. You know, and the preps that my diet wasn't bang on, I might have taken the same gear, same cycle, and not gotten the same result. Right?
Yeah.
So the diet is everything, really.
Yeah.
Agree,
yeah,
man.
I think the recovery tools, like obviously quality of what you're taking comes first. And if you're using something that is, you know, better or more quality, you might find you don't need to use as much, you know, like within a range of 200 milligrams of whatever, you might not need to go up. Also too, like, you know, there's some guys that use weird combinations of things that just don't make sense. So maybe even just like
True.
making your chemistry work a lot more for you than against you.
Yep.
You know, that's also something. Then you talk about taking, you know, PED, like anabolics, and then adding in, you know, like growth hormone or other things like working together. And that can change how things respond. But the big thing, like you said, is recovery. It's the food. It's, you know, because that's the thing. You see a lot of these guys making progress, but like they're able to recover from their workouts. They're able to push harder in the gym. You know, everything is kind of working together. And like, you know, maybe a guy gets a CPAP when he should have one. That, you know, those factors in, you know, better sleep quality. Maybe somebody breaks up with their shitty girlfriend. Now they're not miserable as fuck. But like, you know, honestly, it's a lot of those factors, you know, career.
I won my first overall after I did that.
There you go.
Yeah, right? It's true.
My best look ever, I was going through a divorce. So, hey.
Yeah, I'll stay out of it.
There's a question I like to ask everybody is, tell me about your first experience on your first show. I always love hearing first show stories. Like, if you can remember back.
I was in that show as well.
Right?
Yeah, you did the same
for that one.
Yeah.
That's like you're like maybe like a little bit of your prep and what it was like backstage for you. Like,
honestly, it was a really hard prep. So like Mike Johnson prepped me for that show, and like he murdered me, man. Like it was not that it was a negative experience, but it was just like it was hard. I think it's really kind of a blur, that NSABBA, but there was like 20 of us in the junior class. Like it was a big junior class. There was a lot of kids from Cape Breton. There's a lot.
Cool.
Aaron Ivany actually won the show, and like he was big. So I don't know if you guys remember Justin Huey.
I can't recall. No.
Remember him?
So he lives out in Edmonton right now, and he's been doing classic the last few years, but. Him and we tied for third, but he had more first place votes, so I got fourth, and then Aaron Ivany got first, and then this other kid from Cape Breton got second. He had like earrings. Can't fucking remember his name.
What was that?
But yeah, they had a B class, or they had, I don't even know if they did it. No, they didn't do a B class, but they did something. There was something that they did for like bringing everybody out because there was just so many juniors. But then again, that was also like there was no men's physique, there was no classic physique. It was just everybody did bodybuilding, you know. And I think that was kind of the exciting thing for me back then, is it was just like there was only one. Like you literally had to beat all the guys. Like you go to a show like that,
right?
There was just bodybuilding, so like everybody entered their weight class, and then you had to win that, and then if you won the overall, like you literally had to be the best guy in the show. Whereas like now there's 3 overall winners, something, you know, seven or eight class winners in 3 different categories. So
Everyone gets a trophy. Trophy for you. Trophy. Yep. Pass the
I
ball
mean,
out.
I think it's great. I honestly think it's awesome that we have it like that. But like that wasn't a thing. Like it didn't exist back then. Like it was just like. And I think that's kind of why it was a little bit more like cultish, is because it was just bodybuilding, right?
Yeah.
And I think bikini was like the second year in.
Nice.
Everyone was excited about that.
Oh yeah. So were you nervous at all going to your show? Do you remember being like freaked out backstage, or like you went in having a coach, you were prepped pretty well?
I love getting on stage, man. That was the reason why I wanted to do it. Like I did like all the plays in school. Like I love entertaining people, man. So I was pumped to get on stage. The more memorable one for me would have been the Atlantics the next weekend.
Okay, yeah.
That one was a lot more memorable for me because I remember that's when Johnny was doing the show, and there wasn't a lot of guys didn't go to Moncton to do it, like because a lot of them were from like Cape Breton and shit like that, so they didn't want to do the 6 hours, and you couldn't qualify for the nationals with the Atlantic show.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it wasn't sanctioned back then.
No, it was just kind of a for fun show, and that's why Heather used to have like the class where all the girls did the costumes and shit, which was awesome.
Yeah,
like that was really cool.
Yeah, that is pretty fun to watch, actually.
But yeah, I remember doing that show because of the anticipation of this Johnny kid who was there, and like I remember Greg was helping him out, but so was Marlowe's husband, who's doing Just
Pierce, Adam Pierce. Yeah.
No, not Adam Pierce.
Andrew Pierce.
Andrew Pierce, that's it. Yeah, Andrew Pierce.
I remember he used to have like 20 or 30 clients a show, man. You'd show up there and they were like
huge.
For 2 shows.
You were one of his guys?
Yeah.
Like I often admire him, man, because he was like he did a lot. Like looking back now and like how many people he used to have do this, and they all looked fucking great. If you look back,
just for show, I think is.
Yeah, just for show.
Yes, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
It was just interesting because like especially back then there was no social media other than Facebook at that time. Like there wasn't Snapchat, there wasn't Instagram, there was Facebook, and there was like the Facebook pages. But like, you know, I was like 19, like I never really traveled a lot. So like going up there, seeing all the New Brunswick crowd, and like Heather and Tijan put on a little bit better of a show. And like I remember seeing Johnny, and I was just like, man, like it was just blew my mind. Like
that's cool.
The quality of guys that were there. Yeah.
Nice. And one more thing. Sometimes I like to go through and let's see here.
Who's that?
Let's see. I like to go through, where's it at? Instagram, and pull out a couple pictures. And if you don't mind explaining some.
Yeah.
Like you said you love being on stage, so this is pretty much proves it.
Yeah, that's when I was in high school.
Like what is happening here, and how did you do this in high school?
So honestly,
you should bring that outfit back.
Yeah,
probably my mom actually found that, and it was like moldy and stuff like that.
That's
Big Ron. So
yeah,
in grade 12, our senior year.
Oh, there it is. School, there it is.
We had
there's the
we had this it was called Mr. Lockview, like our high school was called Lockview High. So
my goodness. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's how I came out with the thing. We had a bunch of us guys in the competition. It was kind of like a pageant thing.
Right.
So we all had to do like a talent thing, and we all had to do like a dance together, and like
look at this. Look at these people. they're losing their shit.
Mine was I was gonna do like 100 push-ups. So I came out and did like a bodybuilding routine, and then did like 100 push-ups in that suit. There's more pictures that I didn't post there.
Okay.
And,
yeah.
You were always
time. Yeah, like in the time, like I was like following bodybuilding for like a year. Then read every magazine, like was training. And so prior to that, like six months prior to that, I tore my ACL. So I was going to play basketball competitively for Mount Allison. And then I tore my ACL. And then I was just done with sports because, it was 2009, 2010. And like, I couldn't get surgery for like 8 months. And I was just like, at that level when I was playing basketball, like if you stopped for half a year, you're done. Like
fair enough.
You couldn't just like miss time and then like get back into it. So I honestly, I think that's the first time in my life that I had like real anxiety. Cause like I always felt safe. Like sports was honestly, if you sat me down at 18, 17, like that's the only reason I did school was like sports. It's like, why do you do well in your classes? Sports. Why do you show up to class? Sports. Why do you not get in trouble? Sports. Cause it was just like it was always like, what can I do with this? Like, and my sister was 3 years older than me and my cousin who lived next door, and they were like athlete of the year as like seniors in the high school. They like, we would all like whatever my sister and my older cousin did, me and my other cousin, like we were just like, all of us were competitive. It was just like,
Just kind of,
yeah, we were just all athletes. And then I remember when I made the basketball team in grade 11, I did that whole season. I was like 165 at 5'9". I was just like, man, I'm like, I got to do something about this. Like, I got to train. Like, I wasn't going to get any taller. Mm-hmm. So I put on, I think from grade 11, when I started going to the gym till I was in grade 12, like that summer. So it was like 6 months. I think I put on like 15 pounds.
Damn.
But I was just like, I grabbed the magazines. I'm like, what the hell do I need to do? Like, okay, I need to eat more. I need to train this way. So yeah, like I think by the time I finished high school, it was like 190. So I put on like 30 pounds.
Wow. Good for you.
But it's just, so when I tore my ACL, I didn't know what to do because like I couldn't play sports, and like my whole security, like I was a very popular kid. Socially, I was very good, but like, man, I was super nervous around girls. I was, didn't really feel like the man. And like my whole confidence was like in me performing as an athlete. Like if I had a really good game, I felt great about life. So I just hit the gym. I did the 5 days a week split, and I just hit the gym, and I was like, I can't play sports, so I'm going to train. And like everything was just like,
it was meant to be, man. Yeah, I just started
it's just like my body, I responded really well, and I loved it. And I was like, this is something I could probably just keep doing because I love it. And just kind of started there.
Cool. I got one more. Where did this guy come from?
That's what I wanted to bring up. You got to keep doing those, man. My fucking ear died.
Are you allowed to still do these?
Well, that may be it.
Probably the only problem with these is I have to have a good audio. Like it has to be like the perfect audio to like make one. Like, you know what I mean? And I find it really hard. I find it hard.
Really hilarious.
I think that was the one where Ronnie Coleman was talking about all his vitamins.
Oh yeah.
Hope you can.
I can't use the audio from them because sometimes they get kicked off.
Nobody told you about the trend side effects with the headband. Fucking sweating his fucking balls. Absolutely hilarious. I can't.
It was anyway. Mitch McDonald's video, and he was talking about some of the side effects of trend, and then it switches over to me looking at it like, fuck.
Yeah. Fuck. It's absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like the great thing about those is like it's just like it has to be like a bang on audio, and then you can make something good of it. I find there's a lot less of those now. It's more like songs and
like the trending stuff. Yeah, but those were great. And I was just like, every time I see it, I was like, oh man, I was like, just laugh.
They just come up.
I made one.
Yeah,
they used to come up in the feed, and when I'd see it, I said, Jesus, I just have to go back and look at the next one, look them all over again, and laugh for half an hour and keep on going.
The worst part about all of them is they're all like, I know like 5 or 6 guys that like fit the stereotype or like have done X, Y, Z.
You know how to act.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we all know somebody like that. So
It's like, haha, that's funny. It's like, I know a bunch of guys that have done that.
Yeah.
Like I know guys that have literally been like
Dump
over the
those
years,
in
right?
vinegar.
Like message me like, man, like I need a bunch of stuff that's like healthy so I can convince my girlfriend that the cycle is like okay to take. Like, you know, you're just looking for some sort of angle, like, oh, I'm taking this and this and this, it's fine. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, you ripped your door out the other week. She's not worried about your health. She's worried about her health. Like, you literally punched holes in the wall. Like, of course she's not going to be cool with it if you just because you're taking fucking NAC.
Yeah.
Might not stop your hand from going through the wall.
Yeah. Oh fuck.
awesome, cool,
That's
man.
good.
Honestly,
Yeah,
I think it's just being from Nova Scotia. There's so many guys that do so much stupid shit, and like to them, it's like that makes sense. And it's like, no, it doesn't at all.
no, that is not normal, right?
I've had some guys, and like they've told me some stuff, like, man, this has been going on, like, you know, and you're kind of like, oh man, like, well, what's going on? Oh, nothing, everything's fine. And then you start talking to them like, oh yeah, so what are you taking? They tell you what they're taking. You're like, well, that might fucking be the problem, right? That's like why all these other things are going on. You think? Do I think?
It's like,
But that's just the scary part about it, right?
right, and like maybe not having the education or right people in your corner, right?
So, Dana, I know you talked about this. What your plans is, but is there any plans in competing? Like, I know you're going to have a little off season or a big off season, but
Yeah.
is there any-
So, like,
So we just want to know because we want to know what shows to avoid.
well, for me it's Masters, so you don't have that criteria.
I think I'll push an off season as long as, you know, I don't know how long we'll push it.
Well, you were saying next year.
Maybe April or May. If I'm really happy and if Julian's really happy with how we're looking, I'll probably try and I'll have to qualify again.
Yeah.
Aren't you qualified?
Well, yeah, you're only qualified for so
For the
long
year.
now, right?
You're right.
I should have a fucking pass for life.
Yeah, I think that should be a thing. That should be a
I
thing.
had
No,
my-
Could you imagine?
I'm qualified. I'm qualified to next Toronto, but I'm not doing that show. So,
Yeah, I was
like it doesn't give you. It
Was
gives
it
you like
2000?
12 months exactly.
What's that, Dana? Sorry.
It gives you 12 months exactly.
Oh, does it? Okay.
So I'm qualified from Toronto
To do it
from
next
this
year.
year.
Yeah.
Takes you all the
Right.
way to do it next year. Like you couldn't just like, you know, even if I was like, you know, people say there's politics in the sport, but it's like, trust me, if I ask Ron if he can give me that 6 weeks to Vancouver, they're not going to give it to you. You have to do a show.
No.
Right.
It's just the way it works. And honestly, like for me, what I probably should have done is like last year I was qualified to the nationals that just happened a couple weeks ago. I probably should have prepped or waited to do the show until then. Whatever. I didn't.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'll do. I'll probably do I would like to do maybe that Van City Showdown qualifier in Vancouver. That show looks pretty good.
Fun. That looks fun.
If or like, I mean, depending on like, 'cause the thing is too this year, you know, Heather was asking me about a little feedback about all the shows, you know, like they really liked the timing of the Nova Scotias, but then, you know, the Flex was after nationals. So like, I don't know, next year they might run the Flex before nationals,
Oh, interesting.
you know, and
Just
I
to get
might,
so people can get in there.
Yeah.
yeah. And like the good thing about being with Mutant now is like, you know, I can kind of pick, like if I wanted to do the amateur Olympia over in Europe, like that would be something I could do. So I don't know, man. I kind of want to, like, I kind of want to, but then again, fuck, I forgot about that. You have to qualify in Canada first before you can do an international.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, you have
So-
to qualify through.
I'll do nationals. I'll probably do nationals, and I definitely I want to be in a position like I want to do a pro show no matter what. Like I'll definitely try and get on a pro stage, literally not because like, not from a standpoint of qualifying for the Olympia or, you know, like, but I genuinely just want to get compared. Like I want to go up and get
See
compared.
where you stand.
Because like I don't want to go through all that. I don't want to take the whole year off and then do a pro show bullshit. For me, if I can get right back into a show, but who knows? Maybe that won't happen. And maybe I won't compete next fall. I don't really know. I'm not really in a rush.
Right.
No. You're
Because it's this at this point too for me. Like I've also had to do a lot of digging deep with like, why am I still doing this shit? Like, you know, I'm not disappointed at all in my career. I just I'm not really getting the same kind of enjoyment from like showing up at Toronto or going to Vancouver. You know, it's not exciting. Like
You've done it often enough, right?
Yeah, it's like I don't know, like hanging out with an ex-girlfriend,
Right. It's like,
you know, and you're just like, it's like
this isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, it's like it's the process is just not exciting. It's just like,
been here, done
so
this.
for me, like I said, I'm not really in a rush. Like I want to, a lot of it comes down to like, I need to be at a more significantly improved package for me to enjoy bodybuilding. So I think it's just a matter of like timing. Obviously I would be like 6 or 7 weeks into my off season right now if I didn't have my surgery. So I'm also keeping in mind that, you know,
it's a little bit of setback there.
And I also haven't been using growth hormone, believe it or not. I haven't been using that. I used it for my prep in 2020 once, but so that'll go back into the mix eventually.
I've never touched it. I don't know.
Neither have
I mean, it works significantly well.
I've
But it's just one of those things where I haven't been utilizing that, and everybody that I want to compete against is utilizing it.
Yeah.
So, and the last time I used it, it made a huge difference on my look. Everything looked way better.
Yeah,
Like,
I started using for Flex, the overall, the one there that I won. I started then, and I did a few cycles of it now. So it seems to change my look too. Even at my age.
Everything just looked like really 3D.
That's cool. Maybe.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So hopefully,
we'll see, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just have to keep me posted so I can schedule myself around it.
Yeah,
I like it.
I don't know what I don't even know what there's definitely going to be changes. Heather said there's definitely going to be changes next year. Like
I heard they might be changing some stuff. Maybe not doing enough. Maybe not doing as many shows.
Yeah, and I
like,
also
just
know
for
like
just in getting the numbers up as well, right? In some of the other shows.
Yeah, Flex is starting to really invest in his shows. He's got a lot of ideas as to what he wants to do with his show, and like, you know, he wants to get it back at the casino, which I agree with.
I agree totally.
I agree with that.
I miss the
incredible
casino
venue.
Man, that one was it's so nostalgic. I've had so many good memories there too.
Yeah, and it's just like it's nice. It looks nice. Like
lots of room.
Backstage area is great.
Backstage, nice. Like when you're out walking around, like where the venue or like the tables and the vendors are, it's a little bit more high class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of the plan for me. I think too. I would really enjoy. I really want to like compete at some different shows. So
yeah.
I do think I'll do a qualifier somewhere different in Canada if it matches up with what I want to do. Like I said, if the Flex is before Nationals next year, I'll probably do it for sure.
That'd be cool.
But like if it's after Nationals, I don't think I would do it. Like I just don't
why
see the point.
Yeah.
Just because I'll probably have clients in it, and I'll do it like I did Atlantics the other year because it just kind of works out timing wise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for sure.
So that's kind of my plans.
Nice.
You might probably be pro by then. You won't be able to do it.
That's the idea, right?
Right? Yeah, that's what we hope. We all
It's
hope.
a-
for
Ultimate
sure.
goal.
Right? I can't do it because I'll be turning pro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's just the thing. Like, I don't know. It's always they've always had that show later,
Yeah.
and I think people just don't like to prep in the summer. But
Oh, it's the worst.
I almost feel like they should have the Nova Scotia show with Atlantics and kind of have it like they used to, and they should have the naturals and the flex kind of back to back,
Oh, that'd
or
be
even talk about making it a 2-day, like
a 2-day
like
event,
have it
right?
dissolve it
Yeah,
into the
yeah.
flex, and then have the natural show on one day and the flex on the next.
Yeah.
Oh, look at me. I sound like I'm making all these plans. I don't even know the cost of all this stuff, right? But like,
Great.
it's also just like, I think that what used to work, especially too, was like they like having shows around each other so that you can get a group of people doing them, right?
Yeah, definitely, right? Like if there's one happening, people are going to jump in the one like the week after or the week before. It's
I was also
Kind of
really
no-brainer.
impressed with the Nova Scotia show. Like they
My
did, like I
cat.
really liked that venue too. Like that was a good stage.
yeah. I was happy with that too, for sure.
I think the last time they did a show there like that was 2017 provincials in Nova Scotia. I'm pretty sure that's where Aaron Ivany won that.
right.
They
yeah,
did.
that sounds-
Me and Bumps
had
guest
a-
post that show.
Oh, that's where that.
East Coast
Yes, that's
Classic
where that
there
was.
1 year, I think.
Well, yeah, they always had the East Coast Classic there, but
Yeah.
did they run that in 2017 ECC? Yeah.
No,
So
no,
that
it was
would've
the
been the
Eastern
last-
something open or something like that. I think Chris Johnson and Adam did it one of the first years of the CPA.
Oh,
It was a small show. I know
Yeah.
Cody Amy came down, and I think Cody.
So that
what's his
probably would have
name,
been in
won the,
2018. That probably would have been in
Yes.
2018 then. Yeah.
I think it was 18. Yeah. What's his name came down from Ontario and won the classic. Fuck, what was his name? He was peeled. Beat Cody Amy. Because Cody came down as well. Greg was working with him. Fuck, I forget
Right.
his name
Yeah.
now. I mean,
What,
he
Cody
went
Amy?
natural as a pro. No, Cody lost that show to some other guy. Fuck, I forget his name now though.
Okay.
He had corn. I know he had cornrows in that day. Greg was coaching him. I forget his
Not
name
sure.
now though.
Yeah, I remember I did the Arnold that year, which was a complete disaster. I think it's the worst
Oh.
placing ever. But I should have just did the Atlantics and the Gladiator. But
then
kids,
yeah,
right?
cool experience
Kids
in a
make-
way too. Definitely. Yeah, that's all learning experience. Awesome. Well, guys, I don't know if you have any more questions. I'm good and getting tired.
I am too.
I got about
I gotta go.
5% battery.
Gotta go
left here.
eat.
I better hit the
Yeah.
like and subscribe.
Yeah, man. We're let's do that now. At the end of the video, right?
I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, man. Before
Yes,
we go, we just want to remind people, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, comment on the video. Tell us how much you love Dana. How much how much you want to see more of him on the show. That'd be awesome. We'd love to hear your comments and like, subscribe, and
Bell. Hit the bell button.
hit that bell
Subscribe.
button. Yep.
Ding.
And Dana, do you want to give any like shout outs? Talk about your coaching for a second. If people want to reach out, get a hold of you, how does that work?
Yeah.
People want to win
you guys-
shows. Who do they contact?
Ghostbusters. Showbusters. Yeah, you can
Swollebusters.
contact me. I have I have like a coaching application. I'm actually getting a website soon made.
Nice.
But I have an application on my Instagram. You can email me at baker.training365@gmail.com. Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. Yeah.
Easy.
Easy P. Yeah, easy.
Shout out to my coach, Julian Jujoff on Instagram.
Yeah, buddy.
So he's another great coach as well. Highly recommend. Did 4 shows with him now. Yeah, 4 shows with him
Nice.
now, and he's been fantastic. and also Mutant, my sponsor,
Yep.
and Bombshell,
For sure.
LSR.
Thank you.
Beauty.
Nice. So I just want to say, if you are looking for supplements and apparel, you can either use Joshua T20, and I'm sure you have a code.
Baker Boy 20.
Yeah. All right. Either one is fine. I won't be offended if you use his. That's okay. It's yeah. So yeah, check out Mutant. I am mutant.ca and get on the gear, guys.
Get on the gear.
Get on the old gear, yeah.
Yeah, get on the gear. They have a supplement. It's EAAs. It's called gear. Come on.
I know.
Gear.
Get on there.
Gear.
Yeah.
Get on the juice. That's what they have another shirt. There's
Yeah.
a lot of subliminal.
Get on the juice. I love that shirt. People always look at me funny at the gym when I wear that.
They wouldn't send me one because they didn't make my size. So
Oh, yeah, mine looks like a
I gotta
dress.
get off the juice to get on the juice.
You start making those funny shit videos again. Those are unbelievable.
Yeah, I gotta get back. I gotta get some more audios.
You're just busy and shit, but I tell you, they are funny as fuck.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I
All
gotta
right,
get more
buddy.
of that.
All right, man. You have a great night. I
You
really
guys.
appreciate you coming on, dude. Thanks very much. It's been
Yeah, man.
it's been probably overdue, but we'll definitely love to have you back
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
absolutely.
That was super
Good
fun.
to see you guys.
All right.
Oh, like always. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Derek, Jamie.
Peace, boys.
See you guys.
Later.
Good one.